I was using my phone for directions, and when it routed me down some narrow streets that didn't fit my RV, I knew I needed dependable GPS. So then I started using this Garmin Dezl trucker GPS when I tow my big fifth wheel that's almost the size of a semi-truck at 13 foot 4 inches tall and 60 feet long. Since I've been using this GPS while traveling, I haven't encountered any low bridges or narrow roads with trees hitting the side of my RV. Let me show you some of my favorite features and how it works. This GPS has a lot of built-in features that make driving a big rig easy. Here's some that quickly became my favorites. First off, I can set my height, length, and weight so the route I take doesn't have low bridges or roads I'm too heavy for. There's nothing worse than having to back up down a road than trying to find a place to turn around. I can see upcoming stops made for a big rig, like truck stops, rest areas, and truck parking. With a quick look, I can see how many miles until I can take a break, and if I want to add it to my route, I can easily tap on a screen and go there next. And this next feature saves me from sitting in traffic jams. The Garmin syncs to my phone for live traffic and weather. If there's an accident coming up, it'll notify me so I can go around. The Garmin SmartLink app on my phone and the GPS talk to each other with Bluetooth. The phone uses cellular data and receives live updates, and it sends information to the GPS. And last, it has warnings that pop up on the screen, like sharp curves, low bridges, and railroad tracks. All these features can be customized depending on your preferences and what you want shown on the screen. Spending a few minutes going through these menus, putting in your specs, will save you a lot of time and frustration on the road. Now let's get into using the Garmin. The GPS comes with a power cord and a suction cup, and you set it up like this. This is a Garmin Dezl 580 with a 5-inch screen. You can get the 780 with a 7-inch screen if you think the 5-inch screen will be too hard to see. When you first turn it on, the first screen that comes up is your vehicle settings. This is the size and weight of my vehicle, so I'll hit select to keep going forward. And you can view the map you're driving with, or where to for directions. This is where you can add an address, go to your favorites, or recent addresses. So we're going to go to Twin Arrow Casino in Arizona, coming from Michigan. We will start a new route. It takes a minute to calculate. Once your route is calculated, you can tap on the screen. If you have tolls coming on your route, it'll tell you, do you want to get a new route without tolls? And no, we're good with tolls. And once the route's calculated, we can tap on the screen. You can see the beginning to the end of the route to see your path. And if we want to change the route, we hit this little square with the plus button on it, so we can change our route if we want to go around a different city. So for example, this is taking us through Chicago. If we want to go not through Chicago and around Indianapolis, we'll tap a road by Indianapolis. Once we tap that, the GPS will recalculate, and once we set OK, you'll see in the bottom that it'll tell us how many more miles, how many minutes it adds to the route. And if we're good with that, we'll hit go. Now we can start driving down the road with our directions. So if we want to cancel this route and go to a different one, hit this back arrow. We can stop that route and go back to the directions. You can customize these menus on here. You can add coordinates to go to those directions. And if coordinates is not on here to start with, you can click the plus button to add a shortcut, so you can add it to the menu so you can select that option. The reason I like the Garmin over other GPS units is the on-screen directions. When I have an exit coming up, the screen is easy to read and know which lane I need to be in, so I don't have to make a last-second lane change. The GPS uses Wi-Fi to get the free software and map updates. To update your GPS, it needs to be connected to Wi-Fi while it's plugged into a 12-volt outlet. You'll search for updates, click install, and leave it plugged in for a while, and that's all there is to it. This is much easier than the old models. They need to hook a cord up to a computer to update it. And speaking of which, you cannot update this GPS by plugging it into a computer. If you don't want to leave a GPS in the vehicle when you aren't in it, you can easily remove it and take it with you. Since I started using this Garmin Dezl GPS, I have not been frustrated with bad directions hauling my big RV.